So now we have all the elements ready to set up, assemble the opera. So that's the coffee buttercream put in the piping bag, and that's ganache, dark chocolate ganache, and that is also ready in the piping bag. And then I have the coffee syrup made and cooled down. It's quite cold now, and that's how we need that. And the Jaconde is ready. The one is with the egg, and then the other one eggless. Both are ready. I'm just going to open and show, and then use one of it to set up. And that's the acrylic board. You could use any cake board there, and I'm going to set it in the square ring. So I also have the ring. I'm just going to first open the sponges. You just want 4 layers of each. I'm just going to go ahead and use the ring itself to cut. Just going to try not to waste. So just cut this one. I'm also going to use a knife to go around and then make sure the cut is done well. You just have, so that's the eggless one. So we're just going to have 4 such. So I have the 4 layers of the eggless Jaconde ready. I'm going to do the same thing with the eggless. Just making the cut mark a bit more deeper. So you have one ready. So this is the one with eggs. Now I'm just going to get back and then start assembling them in the ring. So I'm going to use the Jaconde made with the eggs. Then I feel the thickness of the Jaconde, the sponge is going to be too much, like it's going to give me a very tall opera. So I'm just going to cut through a thin layer out on the top. And also just make it leveled up a bit. So this one is done. I'm just done with all the 4. So now if you're going to set the opera in a ring like this on top of a board, now the bottommost layer has to be chocolate. So I'm going to use compound, so it's easier that way. You could melt and then have it set, and if you prefer using chocolate, then you have to temper the chocolate and then add it as the bottom layer. Now we want the chocolate there, and then you don't want it to leak through. Also the acrylic board has a hole. Nevertheless, if you're going to use a board that doesn't have a hole, however, it's just going to pass out through the hole here. Cling wrap the base of the ring to first safeguard it from the chocolate that we will add as the bottommost layer. And now to just help the ring come out easily after we set the layers, I'm just going to insert the OHP sheet. So I have 2 of them in the same size, just folded for the corners here, and they are also the same size, measured and cut. So I'm just going to add 1 there and then the other opposite. I'm just going to use a tape. So you have the OHP sheet put down in there. I'm just going to get the melted compound. I'm just specifying that it is not chocolate because you want it to set. Just 1 layer, because after soaking you want the dessert that you cut, the opera that you cut, to have a solid base. You just want it quite thin, so I'm just going to spread this out all the way to the end. So it's just a base layer that is going to protect the Jaconde, because we are going to soak them with coffee syrup, and you don't want the bottommost layer to be quite soft and soggy as you're going to cut them into slices and lift it up. You don't want also a very thick layer, so this much is good to go. And then on top of that, I'm going to add in the first layer of the sponge, and that will go sit on top of the chocolate layer. So you want that sponge to stick when the chocolate is still in the liquid state, so it could just fix itself with the chocolate layer. So now I'm just going to soak the sponge with coffee. So the Jaconde otherwise without the syrup will be a very dry sponge, so a good amount of coffee that gets soaked is very important. I'm just going to go 2 layers. Okay, and then the first layer will be the buttercream, the coffee buttercream. You snip it open, and then I'm just going to pipe I'm just going to level it up to just get rid of the gaps that are formed as you're piping. Because then when you're going to cut the slices, you don't want to have gap between the buttercream layer. And then goes the next layer of the sponge. And soaked with syrup, coffee syrup. And then on top of this layer, after the buttercream, comes the ganache. I'm going to start piping. It's going to smooth it out. Just pressing it down because the sponge on the top will level it up. I'm just pressing it down so there are no gaps between the piping I just did with the ganache. Then the third layer of the sponge goes in. Then soak it with syrup, coffee syrup. Then on this layer we'll have buttercream. I'm just going to level it up. And the last layer of the sponge. So the last coffee is also done, and then we're just going to top this with ganache. Going to level this. So I've just leveled the top, and now this is going to go into the freezer to set for about 4 hours or even overnight, and I'm going to get back to show how to remove the ring and how the layers are going to look. Also smooth the top, and then let's finish the opera in the next part of the video. So we have the opera here nicely frozen. I'm just taking it out about like say 15 minutes back. I'm just going to get the ring out to the bottommost layer where we just put the chocolate here on the cling wrap. It's just come. I'm just going to release the ring. So we have the layers intact. I'm just going to soften the ganache on the top. So I have a tall glass with hot water. I'm just going to heat up the spatula and just level the top, scrape it and kind of make it even. I'm just going to add in a bit of ganache, just so smoothing it out would be quite easier and have a even finish on the top. Top looks quite fine now. Just dipping some hot water into the knife here. So now I could do about 3 slices of the opera, but if you're going to present the opera like whole dessert for people to cut and eat like a cake or something, this can be a whole slab by itself. I'm just going to treat this as a whole dessert. I'm just going to finish it by writing the name of the dessert on top. I just have some white ganache. I just want to check how the consistency is, how much pressure I need. So let me just start writing. And because this is white ganache, you just let it set for some time in room temperature or in the refrigerator for about 5 to 10 minutes, and the ganache is going to set, and we could just do a gold paint on top of this. But I'm just going to leave it like that to allow you to do the gold painting on the text opera. And so we have a beautiful layered cake, the 8 different layers of the Almond Jaconde soaked with coffee syrup with alternating layers of coffee buttercream and ganache, and there we have the gold of dessert opera.